3.5 years ago, almost when this channel started, I made a video called Xingqiu, 5 hidden stars. Here it is on screen. Here you can see it. It is in this very channel. And today we have the concept of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. 5 if we add Gamon, Kuki, Xingqiu, Xiangling, and Bennett. And today there are these 4 stars that can make the role, the contribution, the importance, and above all they can change an account as if they were 5 stars. Today we will see why Xingqiu to this day remains one of the best. Not to say the best hydro, not counting carries like Novelette. Why people are literally losing the papers and the money and losing the pities on the banner of Nahida and Hutao. More by Xingqiu and Kuki than by Hutao and Nahida themselves. And why and what factors give so that a character 4 stars can become Tangot. And why surely so leave a good like, a Bennett ulti subscribe. Honest the algorithm. Thanks for enjoying watching the video and the channel. Remember that it costs you nothing. It's totally free. Help and position a lot. The video? Thank you very much. And remember that the blessing draws are already active for people who comment, give like, subscribe with bell. And I still see doubts of people saying where is the winner. Remember that it is in the video of the previous day or the videos of the day before. If I went up to, you have to see them. And you have to look in the video or fixed in the comments, so go look for the previous videos. Today we are going to Z why Xingqiu is Jesus Christ. Z, important point to clarify, is not a will, but I'm telling you, the last will is already perfect and up to date. And it's not going to change anything. So here I leave you and the editors leave you the build if you really want to see a will of all. Xingqiu, I will comment about on how it works and how it's built. It has been played with 2 4-star weapons that you all have, the Sacrifice and the Favonius. But yes. Alright Xingqiu, you know how to. Today the players of Genshin, who exist, Yelan and Fiorina, and I also have a video comparing. Phil is all day today in the video saying look, I have another video, I have another video. Who wants to see a very reliable comparison with each minimum difference? Between Xingqiu, Yelan, and Fiorina there's a video here. I'll try not to say it again. I have a video here, but it is true that for those interested in that specific content, you can go to see it. The Xingqiu versus Fiorina versus Yelan Tot. And the story is that they do similar roles and each one extra to the role it does and the amount of application it gives us to enable certain computers, which enable Zumari Hoyovers has balanced the amount of hydro that hits enemies in order to do more or less reactions and fit more or less teams. Today, Xingqiu is the character that has, let's say, developed and built at the beginning of the game. They have very complicated to be able to improve the basic functions that he was doing. That's why they have opted for more offensive contributions with Yelan and Dan. With Fiorina to the point that Fiorina becomes risky with the fact of losing life, so she can. Now as I say, what does Xingqiu do that does nothing else? Well, number 1 has 4-star problems and this is what limits it and has been able to. Also built in the future characters like Yelan, Fiorina and I don't think there are any more Hydros this style because the role they play is extremely similar and can be combined with each other. But it has 2 4-star problems that are the 21-second cooldown, which is the second cooldown highest in the game compared to Ye Miko, who has 22, which is the highest in the game, and also the other cost of 80, which that is a pretty high cost that have many characters that you can see that when you want to limit a character on that side because you put a cost of 80. One of the bad things in quotation marks that Xingqiu has asked out here. Now, what are the good things and better said the things that no one can take from Xingqiu? Well, to chicks you know that he is a hydro applicator outside the field that applies with normal attacks. This means that the character must make normal attacks, and this also in quotation marks is a small limitation because they have a place to Fiorina, which Fiorina strikes in all cases regardless of whether it is also a small limitation, and for example, Xingqiu would not work in any case, for example with Novelette. I think you all know that. But within this thing that does, yes, that gives us, when you don't have it chicks, 2 swords and then 3 swords that apply more or less well along with the Aura Hydro. That's around that, makes this a full application when you're at melee. Melee is being well attached, well sepsis. And then with chicks makes every other normal. The third normal strikes with 5 swords, applying a monstrous amount of damage. Not only damage but hydro application. And adding this hydro application to the area around Xingqiu makes it currently the most hydro applied character. Xingqiu is only Yelan with C2, and depends on the C2, and I do not recommend it because it is only to apply. And then there's Fiorina. You know it applies enough for most teams, but it doesn't apply enough to play it. Zolo on a Raiden national team. Fiorina is the only character you cannot play yet in Raiden national, unlike Yelan or Xingqiu. It is rare. What else can Xingqiu do to us, so that it is so powerful apart from this off-field application comfort? What is a sustain? Incredible defensive. Xingqiu for a long time was a character that combined with characters that they were not pure healers or defensive sustainers. He armed thee and gave thee and enabled thee to this day. Teams that you can play perfectly as a Haraki no Xingqiu and the Ankazuha, that still works. Or as at the time, which since there's the banner, I make Hutao an orifice. Ooh, tower teams. Xingqiu, official and last. You could play Zhongli, or I even saw people playing. Why is this? Because Xingqiu gives you a value that does not have. No other character, if they have it but are not used and do not combine throughout the game. Mitigation is a stat that has not been tried again. Exploit. They have noticed that as they put more characters with mitigation and combine between, yeah, you're gonna be able not to wear heater, not wear shield, and not get hurt enough. Amazing, and it's a stat that I can make another video explaining, but basically many video games, you will know the mitigation stat, which means that when you are going to receive an amount of damage, the mitigation subtracts from that gross damage what you will perceive and receive less damage, period, without depending of a shield. The shield is another mechanics that can be broken in Genshin, you already know, and without depending. Xingqiu can give you 50% mitigation, i.e. you receive half of damage that you would receive, and then combining with shields and micro-healing of their spades when the ulti that gives you the micro-heating equivalent to 4 swords if you have more than cone. That is also that it is a micro-curator. It is not a curator as such, but that extra contribution of micro-healing already helps you by itself, and not only that, but it gives you a resistance to interruption that they are putting into constellations like the Cone of Nubalet, the Cone of Arlecchino, that are the most powerful carries of the game, or the Cone of Xilonen, as support for you to combine later with the C2U, because only the Cone is not so interesting, but Xingqiu gives you that resistance to interruption that is not. He brought it back to Genshin and they bring it to us as micro shields, and yes, again they are micro shields like those of Baiju that break from a breath. But that first time you break it gives you a resistance to interruption, or crystallized ones that make the same paper, a micro resistance to interruption until you break the crystallized. Xingqiu for everything. This can get you to enable hyper-offensive equipment and give you a much more defensive sustainer. For new accounts where, for example, Zhongli in many cases is highly recommended for small accounts that I suffer a lot, Xingqiu himself can give you a incredible support, or combining Zhongli with Xingqiu already gives you everything you need without having to carry a healer on the team. And above all, and more important with Xingqiu, is that apart from everything previous and these mitigations that, as I said, only have little characters as curious fact for who wants to say and who else, because Jin with the Chi Ikes has mitigations not many people have. Nori Jin Chicks Baidu plays also has mitigations, but Baidu today is very in disuse. Sincerely and little more, they have not brought back characters with mitigations. Because to all this, without having 2 more things as a character that make it almost as strong as an Archon and our number. One had heard me say drums in lots of videos, and many people ask the comments, but that is a battery to charge the car, because not gentlemen, a battery is a character that outside the field generates a lot of energy today. From some heard creators to say that some characters, it's okay if you carry them with Favonius weapon, that some characters generate many particles, so that the equipment has per multi, that many computers require this or other amount of recharge. But above all, you hear us say that the characters, if they don't have ulti, most less, Maybe Arlecchino, who can throw the ulti a rotation if one does not, or Yaeg, who can also throw the ulti a rotation if one does not, or maybe even Novelette that does good damage with the ulti. But maybe you can throw a loose load and smash a room of the abyss without having to throw away the ultimate. Because Novelette has a lot of damage, but usually 90% of characters from Genshin Impact require to have per multi. Not many sub DPS generate a lot of energy outside the field, and not just that, but to this day, every 5 stars new support that comes out every time generates the right and necessary and only make it generate a lot of energy outside the field. The Nahidas Arcontes, Furina, generates a lot of energy, Venti that generates a lot of energy, but the new supports that are coming out, except for Emil who generates very good energy for all equipment and not so much shout. As an Archont, it turns out that they have also limited characters that out of the field generate well. That's why Kazuha is so interesting with the cone for the double elemental or double elemental. More Ixifos that gives recharge to the entire team or other characters that are considered very important. Like Xelonin, who apart from his particles can carry Favonius and give energy to the team. Well, gentlemen, Xingqiu is one of the strongest and most important batteries of the game with double. With the 2 kicks you give when you carry sacrifice that generates 10 hydro particles. Or 1 single kick carrying Favonius generating neutral particles plus 5 particles hydro becomes one of the characters that generates the most energy of the team. And not only this, but that Xingqiu has a damage like sub DPS out of the field, apart from just applying very strong, does good damage out of the field. Obviously, with its limitations of 4 stars and now worse compared to Yellen and Furina. But before Yellen, who came out on 2.6, is like almost 2 years after leaving Xingqiu. Xingqiu was a sub DPS, a character that does damage outside the field very hard also for all this. Xingqiu is all powerful that is not going to come out any character like him and can come to compare. With an Arcante, this video is not for you to warm up on the banner, is for you to know the new and old, because everyone says that the banner is a temptation. And that the 4 stars in some case are better than the 5 stars like Kuki and Xingqiu, and for you to know what it is that today, after 4 years of Genshin, a 4-star character. They can't change it, so broken, and it's probably still combined with new characters coming out. Just as it perfectly combines with Arlecchino, perfectly combines with some other future, and they're trying to get the carries today to have mechanics that don't match that gameplay well. As they have tried to do with Kinnick, that specifically with Xingqiu, as it has no harm. As directed as Yellen Xingqiu misses some swords by Kinnick's distance, and that is noticeable, which is quite on purpose to make Kinnish not melee, so that Xingqiu can't. Ret and with Kinnish combine well Yellen and Furina, but do not combine at all well Xingqiu boot. Surely this is complicated, and in the future, as I say, keep trying to make characters is distance from Xingqiu B that combine very well with Xingqiu, because there is no way to enerify a 5 stars hidden little more. This is the reason why Xingqiu is so powerful, and you hear so much about this character. Thank you for watching the video, and the channel, thank you for all the video support, for like, subscriptions, for everything you do every day. Thank you for all the support. To all of the content on stream, on the other TikTok, Twitter platforms, and everything else, and remember, just by subscribing to give you like and leave a good comment for algorithm that is not written with, or to enter once a day in every video on the channel, you know that sometimes I upload 2 videos soon. Type of condition apart from being subscribed with like bell and comment little more than no. You forget and like and comment. Thank you for all the pipe and support, as I said, care a lot to have very good day. I don't know, Mini and Chaito.